I did it again. I did it again. I was recording, and I thought, oh, I'll just stop it. I'll stop it a few minutes, the first 20 minutes in. I'll stop at the first 20 minutes in. It will be easier to save and it will be easier to edit. And then it was like, file broken. What do you mean? So welcome back to Girl Dharma. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, welcome. This is the second episode uploaded here. If you're interested in previous episodes and watching along, all of my previous videos, all 6 previous videos, are available on YouTube, and I'm going to try my best to link it in the description of this episode. So go ahead and go and watch them. Um, I feel like I'm just catching up here. I feel like I'm catching up because I used to have a very clear vision of what this podcast was, and I was like, I'm going to do 108 episodes. And then I gave up, and I talked a little bit about this last week. Um, and now it feels like I'm just catching up. Girl Dharma at its at its core was intended for me to find some sort of connection between little Christina and adult Christina, my inner child, and me as an adult, bridging that gap, talking about boundaries, talking about changing community, changing communication. So let's go. Let's see, let's see how this works. I kind of do a loose outline in my morning pages. I don't know. I felt good about last week. I hope you liked it, and I hope you like this week too. The weather has been all over the place, and I know this feels like such an old lady thing to talk about. The weather has been all over the place. I mean, okay, the weather affects you no matter what your age is. Just saying. The weather has been all over the place. I've had days where it's pouring. It is just straight downfall all day. I've had days where it's flickering on and off. The last couple of days has gone from anywhere between 45 degrees to 73. And I will say this autumn the weather feels warmer, warmer than it was just last year this time. Last year this time I really started to feel like I was, not to get dramatic, but I really started to feel like I was losing myself a bit. I hmm okay, let's back up a bit. I was finding ways to stay active, and I was working with kids and I was teaching them how to stay active. Not because it was we need to look a certain way or we need to fit into a certain mold, but more because it's like it's hard. It's hard to stay consistent in anything. If you're like me, it's hard to stay consistent in anything. And there's been times where I've really let myself down. And if I can teach you how much better you'll feel if we spend 10 minutes at the start of our day doing light stretching, if we spend this amount of time at least trying an art activity, if we spend at least this amount of time trying a group activity, the way those the way those children came in at the start of our camp season, not willing to participate, asking for their phones all the time, and the way they left, that was one of those things that really reminds me of like this. I love my job. I love what I do. And then I quit. The season ended. I thought I was going to go back and I didn't because, well, I'm just going to be honest. I had a falling out with one of the managers. Sorry, my neighbor just came home. I had a falling out with one of the managers who was young, and she really wanted to be just liked by everyone, and I totally get that. And I've been there. I have boundaries and I have standards on what is acceptable, especially when working in the environment we're working. I think I'm going to cut that out, actually. None of that information was necessary for you. I think, yeah, so I'm, I feel like I'm doing a better job at prepping for those colder months now. I last year felt very stuck. I felt like, in order to get a lot of movement, I was going on these really long, beautiful nature walks, and I was riding my bike to the gym, and I was going here and I was doing this, and it required a lot of movement in my day to feel good. And then when those colder months came, I wasn't getting as much movement. I live in a studio apartment. Look at this. This what you're seeing on the screen if you are watching. This is basically it. This is basically the whole apartment. And so yeah, started to feel I started to feel a little sluggish over time, and I started to feel a little down on myself over time, and it feels like there's something in the air now. Now I'm a little more mindful, now I'm a little more aware. I would never treat little Christina in a way that would make hmm, in a way that would aim to make her feel like she is not doing enough, right? Instead, I would simply do my best to help her find the tools to accomplish whatever that is, whether that's more movement, whether that's more steps, whether that's more creativity, whether that's more whatever. As an adult, I would do my best to provide the right tools, the right resources, the right support. That little girl is still inside of me. I am in no way going to let myself daydream about how much better I would treat a younger version of myself than I'm going to treat this current version of myself. So, in order to prep for those colder months, I got a walking pad and I feel good about it. I'm so excited actually. I got a walking pad. My mom had one at her house and I used to use it when I stood there and I loved it. I loved it so much. Um, but the big thing about my life now is I was worried I would have to sacrifice some of my time I spend being creative indoors in order to go out and to go be like physically active. Am I going to the gym? Am I going on walks? Am I going on bike rides? And now you might catch a future podcast episode and you're gonna hear in the background, and that's gonna be me on my walking pad. You're gonna hear the little thumps of me stepping. I'm gonna be podcasting and walking. It's gonna be my walking pad. No, it's gonna be my walking pod. I hope you like that. I like that. But I am I'm I'm treating myself the same way I keep saying I'm going to treat little Christina, right? I have to be the one to give her the support and the resources and the understanding and the patience that I say that I would give her, you know? I also A big thing that I really enjoyed when I was younger was daydreaming. I was a big daydreamer and I so easily embarrassed. I remember one time I had this pink wig, a little bob that I would wear. And oh my, I should add a photo or something. I also had a purple one, and if I had guests come over, like cousins or something, or even friends, they could wear the purple one because the pink one, that was me. That was my personality. Um, and I had really long hair too, and I would have to put it in a bun, and it would like pop out of the back, so it looked so crazy. Um, But I love playing pretend, and I do have this very distinct memory of me putting this wig on and having this whole scenario in my head while I was supposed to be cleaning my room, and I was like, I I don't know why, but I used to watch the Wendy Williams show as a kid, and so I would like, she was really out there, so I was really like in these scenarios in my head, I was really out there about these gossip columns and hot topics, and I remember playing with a wig and like not even really talking out loud, but like muttering to myself these little scenarios and like brushing my bangs of the wig to the side and then I just hear this really loud laughing and I look up and my older sister, who I love, she was laughing and she was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, nothing, I wasn't doing that. Why was I so easily embarrassed? Why are we taught to be so embarrassed? Well, I didn't stop daydreaming as a kid. I didn't stop making up fake scenarios in my head into my adulthood, you know? I actually even played the lottery recently. Oh my gosh. I'm not a I'm not a go play the lottery kind of person, but once it hits that $1 billion, I'm like, actually, no one has won yet because I haven't played. Maybe that's it, you know? I mean, isn't a 1 in a million chance to play? Yes, but it's 0% chance to win if I don't play at all. And I even sometimes I really get into it. I really think I'll journal about it too. I'll be like, well, that's a lot. That's almost too much money. Like, what am I even gonna spend that money? Well, I don't want any fancy cars or anything. I should probably get something just really, really simple and really reliable. And you know what? I should do this. Should I set up a trust fund for my brother, or should I just like straight up put it in his bank account? Like, do I have to call a lawyer, or do they reach out? Like, and I made a list. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to give away a few hundred million because this is just too much money. And I made a list of all my friends I would give money to, and I made a list of all my relatives, even ones I don't really like, even ones I don't really talk to, even ones that I don't talk to for reasons, you know? I want to make sure you are set up for success in the rest of your life. And I think, well, thank God. Like, I always knew this would happen. I always knew I'd win the lottery. I just didn't think it would be this way. And you know what? I always said in my journals, if I rise, we all rise. Of course, of course. This is how it's going to happen. Well, spoiler alert, I did not win the lottery. Sometimes I forget that winning the lottery doesn't always have to be financially. It doesn't even have to be in a monetary way. When I was living across the country from my family, I was living in Port Angeles, Washington, and I had my mom. My mom would send me letters and cards and gifts all the time in the mail, and it was really really sweet actually. One day she's telling me, "Oh, I sent a bracelet and I sent a card and I sent a little bit of cash. You know, just be on the lookout. Be on the lookout." And when it came in the mail, I was one super excited to receive it. And it was a bracelet. Like it had a little card. It was one of those like string bracelets that has like a little charm connecting it, and then it has a card saying this is what the bracelet means and this is the symbol. And the symbol was a dragonfly, which is funny enough because now I see dragonflies everywhere and all the time, and I feel so connected to them, and I didn't even piece together this. And it was a dragonfly bracelet, and the bracelet says that, like, you know, tie this onto your wrist or your ankle and make a wish. And once it breaks in half, your wish will have come true. And when I opened it up, it was already broken in half. And I told my mom, and she was really like, really bummed out, I guess disappointed. Um, which makes sense. If you're sending someone a gift that you think, wow, this is going to be so sweet. Oh, I love them. This reminds me of them. I can't wait for them to get it. And then they get it and it's broken. You're gonna be like, what are they doing at that post office? Like how are they handling this product? But I remember feeling totally content. I was like, of course it's broken. Like at that moment, I was like, I I feel so incredibly loved and cared for by my family back home. I started a relationship at that time where I felt heard, my first adult relationship, heard and seen and supported. I had friends who seemed like they really cared about me, and we would have art nights together. And I thought, I live in such a beautiful place right now. I can see the mountains when I go to the grocery store, and I can walk down to the pier. And I thought, what could I possibly have even wished for? And I think that was the first time I realized that I did win the lottery in one way or another. And as time goes on, lives change. I mean, we're not meant to stay the same, even though there are things we hold on to and we hope never change. I mean, it takes a lot of hard work to become gentle. And I think over the years, I had not been putting in as much work as I was then. And I'm trying to get back there. I'm trying to get back to a place where I'm like, everything is a sign from God. Everything is a sign from the universe, and I get to just live and I get to just flow. And it took a lot of work to get there then, and I didn't keep practicing, and now I just have to put in the work to get there again. If it happened once, it can happen a second time. It can happen a third time. You can reinvent yourself as many times as you want. Each day, you can reinvent yourself. So I'm so grateful right now to be in a place where I'm not hard on myself. I'm not hard on myself for my changing body. I'm not hard on myself for this, that, or the other. I'm just feeling really grateful. Um, Look at this is a little turtle actually. That's so funny. His eyes popping out. Um, yeah, yeah, and I think if anything, I just want to practice being gentle again. I want to practice being less reactive. And for me, all of that starts with feeling comfortable in my body, being friends with my mind, being pure of heart, right? I can't accomplish all the things I want to accomplish if I'm spending my day scrolling. Like even this episode, this is the third time I tried to record this. So I did not win the Mega Millions, or what is it called? The Powerball. I did not win the Powerball, but it's on my bucket list. Win the lottery again. It's on my bucket list. And in some ways, I already have. I have a partner who loves me and cares about me, who wholeheartedly supports my artistic endeavors. I have friends who are always checking in on me. I have friends who are creating alongside me. I have friends who reach out and who have helped me build this community from scratch. Day and Max and Amber and Katie and Juliana and Tiv, Nick Mullins. I don't know if I should have said his full name. Lamb, Riley. I'm loved by so many people. I have two beautiful cats, Chamomile and Oolong. This is Chamomile right here. who love me. In their minds, I'm the best person in the world. I'm the greatest person to ever exist, and I'm gonna be honest, I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I have an older sister who I've grown much closer to over the years. I get to watch her create content and I get to help and I get to see her really be happy. Um, I have a brother who also creates content, of course. And I get to see him live a I get to see him as a younger person live a life where he is supported in all of his endeavors, whether they're creative, athletic, and he is just the sweetest person ever, ever, you know? And I'm not being biased. He just is. I I didn't win the Mega Millions, but in so many ways I have already been so blessed. And my only goal now is to continue putting in the work to be gentle and to be sweet to myself because I know that I deserve it. Thank you for listening today.